Hello, horror lovers. We've all heard incredible love stories of people who end up meeting out of pure randomness and who click so amazingly well that they end up being together for all eternity. When Leandro decided at his 19 years of age to register on that dating site, he never imagined he would meet the person he would spend the rest of his life with. He downloaded the respective app on his phone, and the installation was pretty simple. It only took him 10 minutes to complete his profile, write about his hobbies and his soccer skills, and upload the best photos of himself. After 20 minutes of swiping pictures of women, he decided to leave the phone aside and keep watching videos about the new season pass, which was about to come out for his favorite video game. He heard a notification when he was about to fall asleep. 5 hours had passed since he created the account, and he didn't even remember registering in that platform. He got out of bed to grab the phone from his nightstand, and since he was up, he also turned off his computer and stopped the show he was watching. He checked the notification, which said Lucy and you have a match, and went to check her profile. Leandro was completely spellbound. It was the most beautiful woman he had seen in his entire life. She was his age, and the best part is that when he pressed send private message, under her profile photo, he saw something that caught his attention. At 100 meters from you. Lucy responded immediately, and Leandro couldn't stop thinking about her blue eyes, her blonde hair, her beautiful face, and her sweet gaze. They started to chat, writing about their hobbies, their lives. Time flew by, and when Leandro looked at the clock, it was 6:30 in the morning. He had to go to class at 8, but at that moment, all he wanted was to hug Lucy's photo. He thought about not going to bed and still go to class, but when he looked at the chat window again, he realized something. It now said, at 99 meters from you. He then received another message from Lucy, where she proposed to him that he skip school so they could see each other that very morning. After thinking about it for a few seconds, Leandro accepted. She asked him for his address, and as a reference, Leandro gave her the address of the only churros shop in his neighborhood. Leandro looked once again at his alarm clock, 6:59 a.m. He kept looking at it, since he expected it to ring at 7 a.m. like he programmed it to. But suddenly, something really strange happened. The clock now said 6:60 a.m. Lucy said she would arrive in 6 minutes and would be wearing a red dress. And then, Leandro looked once again at the distance between the two. At 98 meters from you. At 97 meters from you. How weird. How can this mark so precisely the distance between each other? Leandro was so surprised that he didn't realize he said that out loud. Weirded out, he looked at his alarm clock again. 6:61 a.m. And what the heck is wrong with the clock? Whatever, I need to get dressed for when Lucy arrives. When he saw on the screen that they were only 20 meters from each other, Leandro wrote to her again. Hey, Lucy, should I go now? And her response left him frozen in shock. Oh, I forgot to tell you. My full name is Lucifer. Leandro looked at his alarm clock one last time. 6:66 a.m. Then he heard how his window opened, and then screamed in horror, so hard that he woke up the entire building. Nobody saw Leandro again. In his room, they only found two things that stood out. One open window, and his alarm clock beeping at 7 a.m. Hello, horror lovers. Today we'll go to Japan, a land full of dark legends you constantly ask us to share here on the channel. Today's destination is KIYOTAKI, at the shore of the Gotanda River. And we'll be sharing with you the story of the most terrifying tunnel in the entire world, the KIYOTAKI Tunnel. This tunnel was originally built in 1927 and has a length of 444 meters. This fact is important because, as you may know, in some Eastern cultures, the number 4 is considered a cursed number. Many tales talk about how ghosts can appear at night, and that these even get into the cars that are passing by, in order to scare the passengers and cause fatal accidents. There's also a mirror within the tunnel, and if you look at yourself in it and see a ghost, you will suffer a horrible death. This is Goro Hotaka's story, former boss of the staff in charge of the daytime maintenance of the tunnel. Daytime because after 9 p.m., nobody dares to go into the tunnel. Goro used to end his shift at about 8:30, but on that fateful day, a failure in the electrical system left the entire tunnel without lighting. As head of maintenance, it was his duty to fulfill his obligations and stay there to solve the lighting issue, even if it was dangerous working in pitch darkness. After 5 years of working there and never seeing anything strange, and although the situation was giving him a bad feeling, He decided to suck it up and do his job, despite being well aware about the legends surrounding the tunnel. At 9:15, when he was moving the fuse box, he heard a loud crash and glass breaking right behind him. It turned to be a car that crashed against the only mirror in the tunnel. He quickly tried to call an ambulance, but had no coverage within the tunnel. He heard murmurs where he could only see smoke, flames, and what seemed to be a person moving their mouth trying to scream. He rushed to help however he could, but once he arrived, he noticed the car's door was completely stuck, and the fire was getting more and more intense. He had to find a way to break the car's window, and his tools were too far away. He looked at the floor, desperate, and found one of the thick shards, which fell from the cracked mirror. He grabbed a medium-sized triangular shard and started hitting the car's window with one of its edges. However, he observed the mirror shard and thought he saw something strange moving behind him. He looked again at the reflection and could clearly distinguish, despite his nervous and blurred sight, a figure on his left shoulder. Scared, he turned around, but didn't see anything. He then rubbed his eyes, thinking he was hallucinating. One more time, and being aware that the car could explode at any minute, he hit the car's window more times, cutting his hand with the shard he was holding. He once again looked at the bloody shard in his hand, when behind his other shoulder, he saw the strange figure appear once again, although it seemed to look more clear. The figure slowly got close to Goro's ear and started whispering, 3, 2, 1. And then the car exploded. Goro woke up in the hospital 3 nights later. When he looked down, he noticed that his legs had to be amputated, and he wouldn't be able to walk naturally again. He left his job, never went out of his house again, and threw away all the mirrors around him, with fear of ever seeing that figure, which he was never able to forget. Goro Hotaka was very lucky. Usually, whoever looks at the mirror in the KIYOTAKI tunnel and sees a ghost. Hello, horror lovers. It's always nerve-wracking when we talk about ghosts, spirits, and all those other things we usually call paranormal. There's people who don't believe in those entities, while others live in fear of ever bumping into beings like those, just like it happened to me. My name is Hugo, and this happened when I was just 12 years old. I remember it was a rainy night, and I was with my twin sister Natalia at my friend Jorge's house. We had finished studying, and our dad would come pick us up in about an hour. It was then that Jorge suggested that we tried out a board game he saw in his older brother's room. 10 minutes passed until he came back with the game board in a cup. He said it was pretty well hidden. Jorge then told us that when his brother and his friends would play this game, they would make a lot of noise and would spend many, many hours playing. I thought the game was pretty strange as soon as I saw it. It was named Ouija, and it only had letters and numbers on it, as well as a yes on one extreme, a no on the other, and underneath it said bye. I asked Jorge how to play the game, since it had no instructions. It was just a board and a cup, which I didn't understand why was there. He told us that he had been spying his brother a few times, and that the game was as easy as introducing ourselves, touch the cup with our index fingers, and then ask questions. Jorge then turned off the living room's lights, lit 3 candles, and put everything on the table. He introduced himself, putting his finger on the cup, and instructed us to do the same. My name is Hugo, I said with a trembling voice. After me, my sister followed. In that moment, Jorge's candle went out by itself, and he started to tremble in fear. He didn't tell us anything about that weird and strange game, until he asked if a spirit was among us. The cup, with our 3 fingers on it, moved on its own towards the yes. And then Jorge rushed out of the living room in fear, screaming, "A ghost! A ghost! They never responded to my brother before! Help!" We then heard a strong bump near the entrance, but no other sound afterwards. Natalia and I were paralyzed, although we thought it was all a joke at first. We looked at each other and saw how our fingers were still on the cup, and on the board's yes. I instinctively asked who was there, while still not really understanding the rules. S, A, T, A. Those are the letters the cup traveled and stopped on, until finally stopping on the N. Natalia started crying, without taking her finger from the cup, imploring for us to leave, but I didn't want to end up like Jorge. We then heard the main door of the house getting opened. At first, I was scared, but then we saw Jorge's brother coming into the living room. from whom he had taken the board. When he saw my sister and I, he angrily asked us what we were doing and where his brother was. I told him everything, since my sister was so scared she couldn't talk, and quickly told us to say goodbye, that the cup had to stop at the word bye to end the session. With my voice trembling, I asked if I could go, but the glass cup did not move. I swallowed saliva, and after a few eternal seconds, someone rang the doorbell. I recognized the voice of my father, stunned, and when I looked at the board again, the glass was on the bye I so much wanted to see. I looked at the angry but worried expression of Jorge's brother, to then rush out of there with my sister. Suddenly, Natalia and I started crying and hugged my father. Now I was the one who remained quiet. Jorge's brother called his family and we called the police. They searched for Jorge in the entire house, but he was never found. So if you don't want what happened to Jorge to happen to you, then never abandon a Ouija session without saying bye. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you on the next episode.